Hey everybody, welcome to our channel. It's Amber with Amber Marie and Company, and today I'm going to be making a fun summertime wreath for your front door or maybe your back patio. So follow along with me today and let's make a beautiful wreath for summer. And while you're at it, don't forget, hit that subscribe button and follow our channel for more videos. You never know what we're gonna do. Sometimes it's cooking, sometimes it's making items, and sometimes it's just showcasing some of the best things from Amber Marie and Company. And don't forget, everything featured today you can purchase on ambermarieandcompany.com. So let's get started. So first things first, before I go through all of my wreath supplies that I have with you today, I have to tell you I've got Winston right here. He is the logo. He's my little sidekick. He loves sleeping on this countertop because it's nice and cool. So he's going to be here for a little while, helping me out until he gets bored of being up here, and then we're going to have to put him down. But first things first, get your sidekick in line, right? That is step one of any wreath making video. And then next we're going to go through all of our fun products, okay? So of course I've got my wreath right here. It is an 18-inch Grapevine Wreath. I have two greenery bushes like this. We're going to see if these two are enough. I might need to add a third one, but this is a $3.99 bush, super cheap and expensive, available on ambermarieandcompany.com. So I'm going to put those to the side, and then I have lots of flowers. So it's summertime, right? So I want some of these real bright, fun colored daisies. I have this pretty lime green. I have yellow. I have this really pretty pink little filler bush to add a little pop of color where I need it. And then also I have a pretty pink. Look, that's pretty kind of variegated to add some interest. And then bright orange, right? So I have a collection of lots of different colors of these daisies. They're all relatively inexpensive too. Just daisy bushes you can find online. Most of them are $4.99, guys. So really great price on our stems and florals. And again, you have to remember too, we're making these wreaths for outside. So this is probably a B or C level floral. This isn't your A, your most expensive floral. It's the ones that you're going to have for a season or two. Maybe spray it with a little bit of Krylon clear coat to keep them from fading, but it's not going to probably last you forever, okay? This is a maybe a 1 or 2 seasonal type of thing. And that's why those flowers are so inexpensive. Then next I have this little cutie right here. Oops, got some of my tape on it from the box. This is, now it's a phyllo leaf right here, and they're glittered. So they're really fun. I have 3 of those. They're kind of made out of like a foam material. Then I have this cute little pick here that has this fun little flamingo, right? Because that's summertime. And then popsicles, right? Who does not love a popsicle on a warm summer day? That always reminds me of summer. I'm going to put those to the side, and then I'm going to show you my ribbons that I have. I selected 3 different ribbons. Actually, I have 4 here, so don't let me lie to you. But it's 3 different styles. So I have this really cute stripe. This also is great on any of our watermelon wreaths. We'll use them a lot on that. And then I'm bringing in this big yellow ribbon as well. Again, all of the ribbon is also available on ambermarieandcompany.com. And I have to show you how cute is this. This little ribbon right here has all the little popsicles on it. So that's going to be super, super cute on our wreath. And every wreath video that we do, I always start it a little bit different. And this one, I'm going to start by first making our bow that's going to go on our wreath, okay? I want this bow to be big, bold, and beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the layers that I'm going to create with our wreath. So I'm going to start with a yellow layer. That's going to be my base. I'm going to come in with this cute stripe. I'm going to come next with a popsicle. And then this will be my last and final layer of my bow. All right, now I love big, poofy, beautiful bows on my wreaths. So I'm going to take my first ribbon right here, which is the yellow. That's my base ribbon. I'm going to leave a little bit of room for my tail there. And then I'm going to come through and just start making my loops. If you guys follow along to our channel, you will see that this is a bow that I use and make quite often. I just call it a funky bow. Okay, that's my first loop right there. Okay, I'm going to move that one out of the way because now we're done with the yellow for now. I'm going to take, and the plus, guys, I've got these scissors. They are the best ribbon cutting scissors. They're so easy. Taking my next strand, I'm going to do the little opposite layer here. And if you need more tutorials on how to make bows, you can look on our channel. We do have more specific bow making videos available right here on our YouTube channel. So if that will help. And if I'm going too fast, you can check out our channel for those. As you can see, I'm twisting my ribbon, and as I do that, I'm checking my lengths to make sure they're all about the same length. Okay. Okay, there we go. That's our second layer. So I'm going to put that to the side. Now I come in with the popsicles, which is my favorite layer. Cut that open. Now I'm going to make the popsicle layer. So cute. And notice I'm using the popsicle layer closer to the front of my bow because that's the layer that has the punch. And that's the one I really want to stick out. So that's how I chose on making the layers of my bow, particularly on this wreath, is that a yellow is a good base. Then we bring in a little bit of stripe for that pop of color and for that punch and, you know, basically texture. And then this right here on top is what I really want to pop. The cute, uh-oh, there's something sticky on my, there we go. All right, putting that one to the side. And now my final little layer, which is this little 1.5 inch ribbon. And I'm just going to do the same thing I've been doing right here, making my little bow. These loops are going to be the smallest loop right here to make the center. And this little ribbon, this stripe ribbon, is one of my favorites. I use this a lot on our watermelon wreaths too. I'll do a fun watermelon wreath with red, pink, and lime green. And this always looks so cute and just punchy with it. So I really, really like it. Okay, so I'm moving all of my ribbons around now because I've just been holding them, not super tight, but kind of loosely in my hand. So now I'm gonna maneuver all of my little tails and everything everywhere where I want them. And you just kind of think about a ribbon or a bow looking kind of like a bouquet where you want everything to peek out and be able to see all your colors and it all be visible. Okay, next secret weapon here is zip ties. So I'm going to take 2 zip ties. I'm going to use my first one right here, where I'm going to go literally right under my thumb, turning my wrist over. I heard one bow maker say it's like checking the time of your watch. Putting my other right underneath of it there. And this is what I'm going to use to attach this to my wreath. Gonna check, make sure I have that all right there in the middle. And then pull that bow real tight. Ugh. Snip that off. Okay, great. Now I'm going to come in with this bow and I'm going to fix all of the tails real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and trim all those tails, and I'm doing what I call a dovetail. You just fold those over just like this. We're going to dovetail those. Okay, let's see, I missed one. That's the last one. All right, there we go. Now I've dovetailed all my ends. I'm going to take those, throw all those little pieces away. And we're going to start by putting the very first thing on our wreath, which is our bow. All right, so I've looked at my grapevine wreath, and you have to remember, all of these grapevine wreaths are made and tied by hand. They literally take the vine and just twist it into the wreath. So they're not always perfectly round, which is okay. But I try to lay it on the table and kind of figure out where it's the fullest, where it's the most round, and it looks like the most circular shape. So I've done that here, and now I'm going to take and decide which side I want my bow on. So to me, if my door opens, like the doorknob is on the right-hand side, then I want my bow on the left-hand side. I want there to be less on that side, so I don't know, just the balance of it, I guess. If my doorknob is on or my handle is on the left-hand side, I'd put my bow on the right-hand side. That is, of course, personal preference. Some people would be like, oh my gosh, it doesn't matter to me at all. But if someone were to come to me asking for a wreath to be designed and made, that's probably a question that I would ask them because I'd want to know, and that's how I would design it personally. So at my house, my doorknob handle is on the right-hand side. So I'm going to place this bow on the left-hand side. Okay, so I'm just poking that zip tie through the wreath. Sometimes it's easier said than done. In some wreaths, it's easier than others. So I just poke that through there. Get the other side here. Poke it through as well. There we go. And I'm just going to zip this to the back of my wreath, maybe. There we go, nice and tight. Okay, I'm going to clip that little tail off of there. And there we have a big, bright, beautiful summer bow. Doesn't that already just look delicious with those little popsicles in there? I just love it. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about my bow or fuss with it too much right now. I've got it on there. It's ready to go. Now I'm going to start adding some greens and flowers. So very first thing is I have a glue pot right over here. I usually have my glue pot over here, but since I have my little buddy with me, I moved it to the other side to keep his little nose from getting burnt. So I'm going to be doing glue pot across my body because I'm right-handed, but I would recommend having your glue pot on your right-hand side if you're right-handed to keep from having to cross over your arrangement a bunch of times. But since I have my little doggy here, we'll just let him stay on this right-hand side. Okay, so I'm taking all my tags off. And first I'm going to start with my first green bush. I have 2 of these here, and I'm literally just going to take and I'm just going to clip all these little pieces off. So if I have 2 of these bushes, I'm going to make what I'm going to call a C-shaped wreath, okay? And so since I have 2 of these, I kind of am going to know I'm going to use 1 bush technically on the bottom side of my arrangement and 1 bush technically on the top side. So I'm cutting all those. Every time I cut this, it wants to close. Okay, so this is the bottom section. I'm going to put that to the side. Now let's clip our other one. And we'll just say this is the top. It doesn't really matter. But what's great about buying florals, especially if you buy them in bundles or bushes like this, you get a lot of clippings off of 1 bush. So, you know, your $4 or $5 goes a long way, especially when you're trying to make a wreath and this greenery is really just your filler on the back side. So, you know, I don't have a whole lot of tropical greenery hanging around because we're not in a tropical location. So what I did was I just selected a greenery that I thought mimicked tropical in some ways. So, you know, which it doesn't really matter. I mean, this is like, you know, we're here in Oklahoma. That's where we're based out of, Tulsa, Oklahoma. So this is going to be for somebody's front door or pool or something. So I don't think anybody's going to get too concerned about whether this is a tropical plant or not. But just saying, if you have access to tropical and you know what those are, maybe that's a different bush or different leaf that you might want to use. All right, so I'm just going to start with my very first greenery pick. Just taking that bow, and I'm just starting to stick those picks right underneath there. And again, I'm making a C-shaped wreath. So I'm just going to have those greeneries just kind of climbing up and growing up my wreath right here. Not in any particular order, but you just think about, this is just making like the green. We're just making our wreath full here and adding a little backdrop to where our flowers are going to be, because that's going to be the real focal. All of our flowers, our popsicle sticks, all of that. So we're just setting the base right now. Just consider this the base of your wreath. Just going to poke those in there. And then always don't forget to neglect the inside of your wreath too. Sometimes I'll even forget to do that. Just, you want to have a little bit growing on the inside, and then you're going to want a little bit growing on the outside edge too. So don't forget those parts. That's always important. Especially with the greenery, because it's just your filler. And then at this is kind of the point where you can decide about how much of a C you want it to be, how far over you want to go. And that will depend a lot on how much greenery do you have. So I'm going to say this is going to be the last little point here of my wreath right there. So I still have some greenery technically to use on the top. So I'm going to take those pieces and I'm going to set them to the side. This is what I call insurance, right? So I kind of have a form made of what I like. Have my first C shape going. I'm going to go and do the exact same thing on the bottom. But I have those little pieces of greenery that I call insurance. And what I mean by that is when I start seeing some holes, maybe there's a place that isn't quite big enough for a flower. I don't want to put a flower in there, but yet it looks like it's just an empty hole. Then I'm going to stick one of those little sprigs of greenery right in that area. Okay, so we're working on the base part of my C. And again, doing the same thing. I started at my bow. And I'm just going to bring those florals in and down. Just like this. And I don't always have a particular recipe that I always stay with when I make arrangements, because I feel like every arrangement is going to be just a little bit different. And I want it to be different. I don't want everything I look like to be a recipe where it's always the same, because I feel like that's a little bit boring. So I always come in and, I don't sit there and say, someone might say, okay, but how many do you put on top? And then how many do you put on bottom? And like, do you space it 6 inches or 3 inches? And I would say, well, do you think that when flowers grow in the wild, they ask each other that? I don't think they do. So therefore, I don't have a specific recipe of where to put things. I just make it look like it's growing. And I think that that's what looks the best personally is, you want to keep it symmetrical, obviously. You don't want it to look lopsided. And I use symmetry in the fact that we don't have, too many more picks on the top than we have on the bottom or something like that. But I don't worry too much about it looking exactly alike. Like if I were to even make 2 of these wreaths, one for each, like if we had double doors, it wouldn't concern me if they weren't 100% exactly alike. So, all right, I'm going to leave some insurance right over here. So I'm going to leave some insurance for the bottom. I've got 2 more of these to fill out. So I'm going to do that. Make this nice and full down here on our edges. And I can't forget to go into that inside. Let's put something down here on the inside going in. There we go. Okay. All right, so there we go. That's our first step. Well, I guess it's step 2, right? We have our bow and ribbon, that's step 1. Placing our greens, step 2. Now step 3, let's start placing some flowers. So I'm going to start with lime green. I think these are really punchy and cute. Aren't those fun? So we're going to start with a lime green bush. This is a daisy bush. It has 9 daisies on it, and it is $5.99. So super easy to find that on our website. I'm going to cut all of these off. I don't know that I'm going to use all of these because I have so many different colors of flowers that I want to use and make. But I'm going to start with green. Okay. So I'm going to take this single little daisy and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on it. And I'm just going to put it all the way over here, right here on the end. Kind of point that up. And look how cute that's going to be when like if it moves in a breeze. I love it when my arrangements have movement. That's a big thing for me, is that I don't like to put anything so tight into the wreath that it doesn't have air, space, or movement, right? Like if someone were just to take, I've seen this before in my day where people like will just pop this little flower off right here and then just stick it and glue it to a wreath. And I think, oh my gosh, that poor thing looks like it's drowning. Like there's no air, there's no space, there's no movement to it. And I can't deal with that. So I like to have my flowers sticking out away from my wreath and actually have movement in them, because I think that is what makes them look darling. All right, let's see. I'm going to put one more of these here on the bottom, I think, in the green. I have this kind of coming down and kind of poking up. All right, and then I'm going to put, how many I have? I have 4 on the bottom. Let's see, I'll probably put 3 on top because the bottom's going to be a little bit fuller. And I'm going to put these 2 extras to the side where my insurance pile is. And that's, I'm going to use later when I feel like I need some filler or I need a little bit something extra. So I'm going to just start, I have 4 on the bottom and I'm going to put 3 on top because our bottom is always a little bit fuller, let's see if I can move that, than our top, right? The bottom is just going to be a little bit heavier, which is what we want, than our top of our wreath. So come in here right back here behind this bow. Get a little punch of green in there. There we go. Another one. Splitting the difference right in here. And now remember, when you're doing this too, the grapevine is the medium that you're using to stick all the flowers in. So you want a nice amount of glue on the end of that stem, and then you want to stick it in there so that it's in place. If you feel like it's not in place, you can always come back in with a glue gun and just squirt and pump a little bit more glue in there just to keep it from moving on you too much, because you're placing these flowers where you want them. And while your stems are all wired, you might want to kind of just adjust them at a later time. So there we go. We have our green first, and then I'm going to come in with a few yellow. So the yellow is kind of my secondary color. I'm going to come in with probably not quite as many yellow. Right now I'm going to start by just taking 2 for the bottom and 2 for the top, because I like the yellow and the punch it makes. This is called an African daisy. You get 9 on the stem and it's $4.99 on our website. So like I said, I want a punch of yellow, but it's just going to be more or less an accent for me. So I don't want to put too many yellow in because I still have orange and pink to put in too. So I'm going to put a pop of yellow in here in a few little spots, because yellow just adds sunshine, doesn't it? So we'll put those in. And then I have the other yellows from that bush that if I decide later, I'm like, ooh, I do need more color, or I need to fill this out more, then I will have the others. So there you can see that. Okay, and now I've got 2 on the bottom. I'm going to take and get my other 2 up top here. So we're just going to bring this little punch of sunshine right there. Okay, and let's bring my other little punch of sunshine over closer to the other green over here. Just stick it right in there. Okay, so a little pop of color there. Okay, next. So I'm going to keep the rest of these yellow that I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 left of these. But these are great to use in any other arrangement that I make. Bumblebees, it looks really cute. Going into fall with pumpkins also looks really cute. And I might need it on this one yet. So I'm going to put that in my little insurance pile where I like to keep things that I might find purpose for later. And then how about this bright orange? I love this. So this is a 17-inch Gerber daisy bush in orange. There are 8. Did I get that tag off there? There's 8 of these little guys on this bush. So I'm going to cut all of those off. And I love pops of orange, especially when you mix it with pink. So I will probably end up using most of these. We'll see. I'm just going to cut you shorter. Cut you down here. Okay. So now a little bright pop of orange in there too to make it look really, really cute. And you know, the other thing on this wreath too that you will see is I'm using a lot of the same flower. And I don't do that on many wreaths. I like to mix up and use a lot of different flowers for texture. But since this is all about summer fun, I felt like this was kind of the best floral representation for summer that I had in the store right this second. And, you know, plus it's just lots of bright colors, and that's really what I wanted to go for. So we have lots of orange, which I'm okay with because I love how orange mixes with pink, personally. Okay, so I'm going to put this one down here. All right, you can kind of see what I'm building out right here. And then I have these to use up top. Oh, it's just looking like just a bouquet of flowers, and I am loving it. Let's put an orange right up in here, right close to our bow. A little pop of color right in there. And while this is a C-shaped wreath, you can see there's very little of this wreath that's going to be left on the grapevine that's going to technically be uncovered. So we're still filling out a lot of the wreath and filling it out quite nicely. But we call it a C shape because we're not technically going all the way around the wreath, if that makes sense. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 on top. I think I'm going to use this last orange one right down in here on the base of my wreath, right there. I kind of have a little hole, which is fine because I do still have pink to come in. But I think I want to add that little guy right in there. I think that'll be cute. And I don't know if you saw, because I'm reaching over my wreath the entire time, which I don't recommend you doing, I got some glue on my bow, but this is not a problem. You let that dry and you can just peel that right off. So I'll show you that here in the end. All right, I'm going to come back in now. Here we go. I'm going to come back in with my pink pretty Gerber daisies, which I love these, and add that bright pink. Pink is my favorite color. If y'all have been watching our channel, you might be able to tell that I love pink. And my mom loves pink too. So when it came to painting our studio, there was only one color, pink. The only issue was what shade of pink should we use. You can see my sidekick is quite bored with my arrangement here, but that's okay. All right, here we go. So now my punches of pink and where I'm going to put them. Right? This is my favorite, so I want it to really come up and really stand out. And that is also, because pink is my favorite, that is why I have waited until the very last, because I want those pink flowers to really stick out the best. All right, so I'm just still adding all of my pinks here. So I'm just going to come in and just put those little pops of pink right in there. And again, pink is my favorite, so I really want to stand up and out. So I hope you can see how cute this is. It's just really taking shape quite nicely, and I'm just absolutely loving it. And I mean, I have so many things to add to this wreath, and I don't even know if I have to have them, but I'm going to, because you know what our saying is here at Amber Marine Company? It's not done till it's overdone. So let's just do it. Winston totally grunted when I said that, like, ugh. All right, let me show you real quick how to remove this. So if you are doing across your body like I am doing right now, the glue, it's so simple. Literally, you just take it, make sure it's nice and dry on there. You don't want to peel it while it's not dry, and it just comes in a little clump like this and just makes it super duper easy. So there you go. No harm, no foul. Everybody's okay. And easy to remove. So don't worry or get upset if that happens to you. But the easiest way is if you're right-handed is to have your glue pot over here on your right-hand side, obviously. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to go to the top part and add my punches of pink on top. So I'm in my glue pot here. I'm going to add one right here, right close to my bow, because the bow is kind of like the crown here of your wreath. It's where everybody's going to look. So I love having a pop of pink right there next to my pretty bow. Okay, so there's that one. I'm going to turn this just a little bit so it's a little bit easier for me to get to. And I'm going to do this left-handed. So if I mess up too badly, just know I did it left-handed today, okay? So give me some grace. All right, here we go. Put that little guy right in there. There we go. Cute. That's just turning out really, really nice. I'm just going to turn this again. So all I'm doing is just looking at my wreath and just filling in the pinks wherever I feel like they need to go. So see, remember, we're working on the outside and the inside of our wreath, so we don't want to neglect one or the other. And then pretty soon you'll see me put this on my wreath stand and then check inside and outside when I start doing. That's what I have this little insurance for over here, is that it might come a time where I'm like, ooh, I need an extra little flower right here or right here. And so I keep those little insurance flowers for when I accidentally, ooh, a little too close to the glue pot there, Amber. When I accidentally don't plan for what I need. I have one more pink, which I really feel like can be right up here. So I'm going to take that little guy and put him right up here, right up top. There we go. Okay. How cute is this looking so far? I am loving it. And we don't even have everything on there. Of course, I feel like I have a little spot right here, but that's okay. What I can do is I can always move. All of these florals are wired. So if you feel like you're missing a spot, like right here, I might come in and add one of those little yellow guys that I have extra of. So I'm going to take and just clip one little yellow extra. And that's why I keep those. That's why I don't always right away put everything on my wreath, right? Because I want to have a little bit extra for when I need that extra little pop. See how that's just going to fill in that space right there? It's a little bit blank, but I'm keeping my little insurance flowers over here to fill in that spot right when I need it. And these little guys are wired, so look at that. That's filling it out quite nice. How fun is this going to be? Look at that. They're all going to just shake and shimmy in the breeze, which is what I love to see about those flowers so much. Okay, now we have all of the fun stuff, all right? So I have my insurance flowers over here. That's what I like to call them. There are some spaces on my wreath that I feel like could use a little bit more green. So if I need to, I can take some of these little insurance flowers and this little bush that I kept for the end to do that with. But right this second, I'm not going to worry about that. What I'm going to worry about right now is putting in all of my cute stuff, right? So one is this cute little flamingo. Okay, so this little guy is called Flamingo Spray. He is $13.99. He is totally worth it. I'm going to take it and I'm just going to fill all this out right here, fluffing everything out real cute. All right, so I have my cute little flamingo here. He's all fluffed out and ready to go. And usually I like to stick this over close to my ribbon. Sometimes I'll stick it right over here in this little area, which would be really cute, I think, there. So why don't we do that? Let's take him, and I'm just going to clip off part of this. I only need a short little amount to stick into the wreath. Okay, and we're going to take him, and we're just going to stick him right over here. So I want to get what he's going to look like right there on my side of the wreath, right there. How cute is he going to be right there? I love him. So he's going to go right there in that little spot. I'm getting a nice amount of glue on him because he is a main focal point. I don't want him to come loose or to come out. So I got a nice amount of glue. And I'm going to just take it and stick it right in my wreath. Just like this. Get it down in there pretty good. All right, so he's right there sticking out just where I want him. Okay, I'm going to move some of these things to the front here. Okay, so how cute is he? Just love him sticking out. Doesn't he look cute? All right, so I've got that going. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is come in with these fun little guys right here. So now on a fun little foam pick like this, two ways you can do it. You can keep it all as a single stem, or you can cut each one of these little leaves up and separate them out. All right, so in my particular wreath, on this style, I think what I might do is, I think I'm going to keep them together because I like the way they look bunched in. All right, so I'm going to take my little stem here. I'm trimming it just slightly. And I'm going to come in, and I'm kind of coming in kind of underneath and behind my flowers I have here. So I'm going to just kind of glue them in. And I'm going to use that stick and just poke those leaves up and out right where I want them. So I'm sticking that in, gluing it down in there. Okay, and then I'm going to take these little leaves, I'm going to bend my stem down. Right, because I just want these leaves sticking up and out like they're just kind of growing out of my wreath. So I want all of that stem to be down and hidden in the base. So I'm going to bend it down and then just poke the leaf up, if that makes sense here. So I want to cover that with some of my flowers. I'm just going to work on where I want that wreath and that little leaf just bending right out. Oh, you go back down. All right, sir, come on. Down and up. There we go, like that. Oh, that's looking so cute. I love it. Okay, now I have 3 of these little guys. So, of course, like I said, you know, on my wreath, I always like to have the bottom a little bit heavier and the top a little bit lighter. So I'm going to use 2 of these stems on the bottom and then just 1 of those stems up top. So here is my other one. Again, I'm just going to take and trim this right down here, which is meaning, it basically means I'm leaving about 2 or 3 inches right there to use to put the glue in. And I'm going to come in, I'm going to do just the exact same thing. I'm going to kind of hide it down and under all my cute flowers. And then we're just going to poke it through all the flowers just like we did before. So I'm doing the exact same thing. Poking it into the wreath space, getting it in there nice and tight. And then, of course, I want to come into the middle of my wreath. Bend that just a little bit here. And have this guy coming kind of down and out the base of my wreath. How cute is that looking? I love it. And now, don't forget, I will make adjustments on all of these flowers once I get this up. Like if I were to hang it on my door, I have a little wreath stand here that I'm going to look at. And if there's anything like, you know, I don't really love where this is, all these flowers are wired. So that's the great thing about it, is that you can adjust those stems at any time. Okay, so there's the base part, or the bottom part of our wreath. I'm going to flip this little guy over, and I'm going to do the top leaf. So I've got one last of these little leaves. I think they're so cute. And again, I'm putting this on at the very end because this is the showpiece, right? I put the pink flowers on at the end because pink is my favorite. And then I'm going to put these on because I want these to really show up and show through. So that's why I use my cute, pretty decorations at the very end, because I want those little babies to show. I don't want to hide them. Think if I would have put this on first, all my flowers would be hiding that, and you couldn't see how cute these little guys are poking in and out everywhere of our arrangement. So it's very important that we do it in that order to make that as cute as possible. What do you think, Winston? Winston likes it. I can tell. He's not bored at all. Are you, Winston? No. Okay, so now the last cute things I have to put on are our popsicles. And some might be like, oh, it's enough. You don't need one more thing in there. You're right. It is enough. It looks cute. It looks beautiful. But again, my saying is, it's not done till it's overdone. So I've got them. I think they're adorable. I want this to be like, wow. When people come up to my door, I want them to think, how cute is that? Where did she get it? Did she make that herself? There's no way. And I want one. So like, right? This is typical neighbor envy is what we're going for right here. Okay. Neighbor and friend envy. That's right. I said it. We're going for it. Now this stem, I want to really stand out as well. But I want this to start out from my bow. That's where I'm going to want this stem really to be. And the next question is do I want to put this in individually or do I want to put it as an entire arrangement like this, right? So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in all together. And the biggest thing is knowing that each little popsicle is wired. Maybe I should cut this. Let me try that. I'm afraid I don't want it to come apart though if I do cut it. So let me see. If I put it in there, will I be able to stick it out? I think I will. All right, let's start with the top. I'm going to take this little popsicle stem. I've trimmed it down just a little bit. I'm going to stick it right in my wreath, right underneath that bow. That's where that baby's going. Right in there. I'm getting it in there real good. And I'm going to take that little popsicle and it's a popsicle. I'm popping it right out. So here we go. I'm going to take that. Get some of that fun little squiggly stuff out of the way there. I'm just going to pop those little popsicles right up and right out, just like that. So you can see how cute that looks. Just climbing right out of the wreath. Good? Yeah. My last popsicle stem here, I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to take it, have it coming out of the base of my bow down here as well. And then just to make sure it doesn't look like my popsicles are upside down, I'm going to turn them at the last second. So you'll be able to see this and you'll get what I mean here in just a second. So I'm going to pop that in right under my bow. Trying to make sure my glue doesn't drop all over everything here. All right, let's see. Let's find a good spot in our wreath, which is hard because I can't see. Pop that in just like that. Okay. This up just a little bit more so you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to literally take these little popsicles. I'm going to kind of bend that down just a little bit. And I'm taking my popsicle and very gently I'm going to take that wire and twist my popsicle up just like this. Okay. So twisting that popsicle so it looks like it is facing up and coming out of my wreath. Okay. I'll work on this just a second. I want to hide that stem. I have these little guys coming over. So you just have to weave some of this in and through your wreath or your arrangement. If you don't love something, like if you don't love this little stem right here coming down, it's kind of hard because my wreath is really big. But if you don't love that stem coming down, just cut that portion off. Let's take it over here and let's look at it. All right, so I've moved my wreath over here to my little stand. And I like this stand because I kind of want to know what it's going to look like on my door, right? So I want to have it facing up because when you do your wreath laying on a table, and then once you actually get it up on your door, it can look a little bit different. And that's why I save what I call insurance flowers and insurance bushes. So I'm going to look at it like if I'm walking up to it, to my door, and I'm going to see if there's any places where I feel like I need to add some greenery to cover up my wreath, or flowers because I might have a blank spot. So I have these items right here. I have a lot of that particular bush, And like I said, we start by getting a kind of a true base, but then I always come in and I start filling in. So that's what I'm going to do right now, is I'm going to take these little flowers, and just from the standing position that I'm in, I can see where I need to add some greenery and some filler, because what I don't want to see is, I don't want to see the back of my wreath. I don't want to see the glue, right? So what I'm trying to cover up glue, and just transform and hide the wreath base the best I can. So that's what I'm going to be doing with all of these stems. Now, it's okay for some of your grapevine to show. That's not a problem. But what I'm talking about is, like, if you feel like you've got a big blank spot and all you can see back there is glue from your other picks, that's not good. That's what we want to cover up. So we don't want anything like that showing. So I like to come in at the very end and just fill those little parts out. Now, if you're using a bush or something, you're not cutting single flowers, sometimes you don't have that exact issue or problem. But when you cut single flowers, single stems from bushes, you can definitely run into that. So I just like to use that, and I'm really particular about the way that my wreaths look that way. So I don't want anything, I don't want anything showing like that. I'm going to take it, I'm clipping all these, and I'm going to add it in for a little punch of color, right? Because right now, all of our flowers are larger flowers, and I like for there to be some little pink punches that are some smaller flowers coming through there. And again, we have the flamingo. Obviously, the pink is my favorite, so I'm just going to add those little pops of color that you can see just right in there, just like that. And that also helps me hide any little imperfections, any little excess glue drops that I might have. But I want to make sure that I spread those out too, so that they're not all in just one little location. And I've got lots of glue strings, but that's not a problem. We can take care of those real quick with a hairdryer or a heat gun. It just melts those little things right away. So there we go. Just adding those little flowers any place that I feel like I need just a little filler. Or if I just want to hide a little dot of glue. Okay. And especially sometimes the middle of your wreath or the top of your wreath, that's where you can really use some extra flowers sometimes. Just kind of popping in and filling in. Because the last thing you want is someone to walk up to your door and to see your wreath and be like, "Ooh, there's hot glue all over this mess." Right? Because that wouldn't look cute for anybody. So we're trying to avoid that, which I think we have. I think we've done quite nicely. And we'll just take and do a little one over to make sure I've got it in all the right spots, which I think I do. So I'm going to take it over. I'm going to walk it to our door here, and I'm going to fix it on the door just like I'd want to have it on your door at home. So the very last thing I want to do is I want to look at how my wreath is going to look on my door. Or maybe you've made your wreath and you're taking it to your front door. So here's the final adjustments. I want to make sure that all of my cute little leaves here that are all glittery are shiny and just sticking out right where I can see them. I want to make sure my flamingo is in the right place. All of those things. Hi, buddy. Wince is coming over here. You stay there. And I'm going to fluff my bow out and make sure all of my little bow tendrils are where I want them. Maybe even trim my bow if I need to. And I have some of these long curls like this. And what I like to do with those is just take them. All of my ribbon is wired. So I'm going to kind of wire that coming out real cute like. So I'm just going to make those final little finishing touch adjustments on my wreath. I hope you enjoyed making this fun summer wreath with me. I enjoyed making it. It's always a new adventure. Every time that I come on and I make one of these wreaths, this is a new challenge for me. So I'm learning right along with you, and I'm showing you how a designer who has done this for 20 years and who has made arrangements for quite a while, how I think what the process is. So I hope you enjoy it, and I would appreciate if you'd leave me a comment. Let me know if you're going to try this. Or if you have a wreath of your own. that you've already made or something similar. Let me know and tell me, what would you like to know more about? If there's a specific style you would like, anything. I love your comments and I read them personally, so I would love to hear directly from you.